money it makes them. That's just in terms of the sheer construction. And once again, when you have supermaxes and solitary units, you're now in a situation where the construction cost of that is more expensive, right? Like to build a low security prison is not as expensive as to build a high security prison. So at every step of the way.
Fun fact though, you put bags of sugar in concrete, it don't ever set up. Just saying. Throwing that out there. Yeah.
I have I get that, I'm sure, I mean, I have no idea, but I'm sure that everything you guys are saying is true or close to the truth about how they manipulate this system or whatever. I guess my question is, God forbid I ended up there, which I'm not cut out for that, I can tell you right now.
But
and
plenty
some
of
dude
innocent
tells
people end up there, right? So that's
Yes.
a concern that we should all have. Like, and I'm sorry that I interrupted you, but I feel like this is a point that needs to be made. For those of you that are thinking, oh, this is never going to apply to me because I keep my nose clean. Think about the case of Michael Morton. You know, not only do you lose your wife, now you're losing 20 years. And your child because the right person wasn't initially
losing
caught.
3 weeks long enough to lose your job. You know what I mean? You might even lose your place. Like short-term stuff like that is.
But anyways, so
yeah,
go ahead.
what I was getting at, I'm sorry for beating around the bush with it, but, and I only see shit on TV, and I don't believe that shit anyway, but if I'm in prison and somebody is threatening my life or threatening other people's lives or actually trying to kill them, I mean, where else do you put them? What's another solution? This person is going to kill other people.
Are you talking about in prison?
In prison. This person has made threats, whatever
I see, like,
you know, what do you do with them?
I see what you're saying. Like, the problem is when you're having these prisons, these institutions, you're forcing people into those situations. Those people don't function that way in the world. That happens there is a byproduct of being institutionalized, being in a dense population, having people that are like unhealthy, agitated, angry. You know, you have very few resources. What do people generally go to war about on a bigger level? Resources. When you ain't got shit, you're gonna fuck someone up over a bag of coffee because that's all you have. You don't have anything else. Like that becomes something that's like very valuable. Or like your food. You know, your family like sent you some stuff. You just got a couple packs of ramen noodles. That's like seems like such a stupid thing to fight about, but that's the only thing that's gonna make you not go to bed hungry at night for a week. Like that is a very valuable resource. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know,
and I'm not saying that they don't have justification in their own mind about why. I mean, I'm hungry. I want that ramen noodles. I don't care everything outside of that, but the rules are you can't kill somebody over a bag of ramen noodles.
Right.
And if you're going to do that, then what do I do with you?
Right.
I mean, do I put you back in your cell and just keep on going about it and say, sorry, old dude over here, prisoner 1782, he's dead. You're cool. Enjoy your ramen. You know what I'm saying, though? I mean, and I'm not trying to argue or anything. I'm just asking.
I understand what you're saying. Like my position on some of that is, you know, when we have these institutions that do not function as anything rehabilitative, you know, you're forcing people into a situation where they're having to fight over something. They're having to defend themselves. It's not, I'm going to stab you for your ramen noodles. It's, I'm not going to let you take my shit. You know what I mean? That's usually what it's about, is someone who has less than you trying to figure a way to maybe get something, borrow something. And, you know, we have a patriarchal society. Males aren't supposed to cry. Males are supposed to conduct themselves a certain way, not show any feelings. Okay? That's multiplied in prison. And it's not that people don't have feelings, it's they have to condition themselves to not feel or not appear weak. So like the same types of stuff out here was like some social norms of like, you know, you gotta always look tough or whatever else, or like not cry. Like you're forced.
His question though was, once you have somebody who becomes that kind of security threat, and not talking in terms of after we've abolished prisons, but in the moment, what do you do? So the first thing to remember, Brian, about that is that often people go straight from long-term solitary confinement onto the street. So if you're talking about someone who is so dangerous that they can't be handled in general population, how is that same person then going to walk out of solitary confinement and suddenly be safe to society as a whole if they can't be kept from killing other people or whatever it is? by COs in general, all we're doing is just locking people in these cells until they die, then basically that's a de facto death penalty situation where you're torturing them first. So if you're, if the concern is this person is too dangerous, what do we do? I feel like that is a legitimate concern, but we need to recognize that the current, quote, solution to the problem is either a delayed death penalty or to make this person more violent before they go back out into the world. That doesn't make sense.
Was your question, what do you do if someone does that while they're already in prison? Do you leave them in general population? Are you talking about someone who leaves?
No, I'm talking about somebody in the general population committing a crime of something that's what do you call them? What do they call them?
Violent crime.
Violent crime, thank you.
Like that.
Violent crime towards somebody else in prison. What do you do with them? How do you separate them from that population?
There's two sets of rules, all right? There's guard rules and then there's inmate rules. Two totally different codes of conduct. When there's like that separation, that's why I love gangs within these institutions, okay? I don't love their ideologies, I don't love necessarily how they treat people or a lot of their beliefs, okay? One positive thing about gangs is they're structured organizations to push back against the administration. It's like a check and balance. When you have these organizations that they have their formal hierarchies, but when they have them and they're well functioning, they are diplomatic with each other. They do have diplomatic relations. A lot of people don't just stab someone over their noodles because they know they're going to get disciplined by their own organization for doing that. And that's going to put their whole organization in jeopardy because there's no one-on-one policy. So that person knows not to do this to that other person. So there's these codes and things function a certain way. When that power is taken away and there's more micromanaging by the administration, you have more problems. You have these like one-on-one fights. You have people who are like able to really like prey on each other and stuff like that. So when you have these organized structures, I love them because we can organize against the administration, and there's more of a check and balance for us to have more freedoms. Because they're coming to a point they got to pick their battles. Hey, dude, we gonna drink some hooch over here. I think we all deserve a drink, bro. You know what I mean? We're gonna do some tattoos because that's part of our culture, and I ain't gonna wait X amount of years to get some ink. You know what I mean? That's what we're gonna do over here. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Like, pick your battles. Because you only doing 8 hours a day here. You know what I mean? We live here. This is our shit. Like, you might have numbers, you might have riot gear, but there's a lot of us that we just don't care about your feelings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it puts us like a check and balance.
I mean,
So the interesting thing is,
let me just interrupt you a second, because I
sometimes
still don't feel like you've answered his question, okay? Like, if you have somebody, and let's say for the sake of argument, they're non-gang affiliated, and this person is just, let's say, completely snapped, and all they want to do is just,
I've never seen it.
okay,
I know
so
a
then
lot of-
one
I know a
option
lot
is to say the reality of the situation is that the structure doesn't create those sorts of people. That is one possibility, is to say, you know what, there is no one who is so overwhelmingly violent that other groups of people can't come in and be a check, just in terms of the
There's definitely
population.
people who like really utilize violence as a tool, but I've never, and I know a lot of people that have killed at least 1, 2, 3, 4 people, usually gang related. You know what I mean? But I know I've been around a lot of people who have killed other people. I've never just seen someone that is just like for the sake of violence, just violent all the time. Like, I've never seen that boogeyman. I've seen people who are like very, very, very mentally ill and sick, but I've never seen someone who's like off of TV who's just like, I love, there's people who are like completely disturbed and they're manufactured there. Now, if there's that sort of situation within like general population, generally what happens when there's conflicts of violence is they move someone to another deck, or they kind of split some stuff up. Okay, like if a deck goes up, they'll usually send some people to solitary. They're trying to get information, figure out what organization, whatever, trying to put new cases on people or whatever. But the solution, I would say, the thing that I've seen that works is splitting the deck up and putting people in different areas when there's like that type of conflict. Basically, just you kids can't play well together. You need to be separated. That's it. And one of the problems is when you have people who don't necessarily get along, and they're in a confined space and they're forced to be together, there will be conflicts. There will be those types of things, and it's difficult if you can't stand somebody. I mean, say you can't stand someone at the workplace.
I live with my chick, dude. I know exactly what you mean. Actually, want to freak strangle. It's like, I gotta live with them every damn day. I love this chick. I can't imagine somebody I don't
But you
know.
can get a man cave. You know what I mean? There's like, or a drunk bunk at a friend's house. There's
Exactly.
there's that ability to kind of be able to be somewhere else and not, you know what I mean?
Does that even make sense? You know, for us to take that cell, and I know what, you know, Alvaro's been through being in there for 12 years, take him out and put somebody who's already so mentally ill that they can't be handled. What kind of efficacy can that possibly have?
Well, there's no efficacy period with that, but I mean, you know, whether they're placed in solitary or wherever, they're not getting mental health care. Like, that's the problem, and they're not getting adequate care. And the problem is, you know, a lot of people don't have family. Unless there's people who are calling me like, where's my brother? Why hasn't he written? What medication is he on? And like, stay on them, because they'll spin you. They'll try and pass the buck. Like, unless they have that, like, they don't have a hope. Because there's like very few prisoners at all that will like go out of their way and try and help someone. And aside from that, how can you really be and you know, be of really good service and advocate of someone who is like fully psychotic? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't even know enough.
You can't really communicate with them, like, you don't really know.
Yeah, so if they don't have like family, they're kind of like
But
stuck.
I mean, even for people who have more garden variety health issues, like one of the prisoners that I support who's done more than a decade in solitary confinement is having some issues with high blood pressure, okay? Family history of people dying of strokes and dying of high blood pressure in his family. Unsurprisingly, he's African American. Just because of issues that they have with hypertension. But anyway, point being, we had to have a national call-in campaign to get this guy blood pressure medication. That's it. Just to have him evaluated by an outside physician, have his blood pressure taken, and make sure that he's getting adequate meds. And even now, he's getting some meds, but his blood pressure is still not as contained as it should be. And this is somebody who is, you know, recognized as a political prisoner by other organizations. He's got a lot of people who are calling in on